couple of months ago. It was one of the ugliest and unfortunate and I think bad and worst endings in a title fight that I've seen for years and years. I thought that the man who was ruled out got a raw deal. And I think the kid that won got a raw deal himself in many ways because it was just warming up. The man who got ruled out was Paul McCloskey. And anyway, his eye was better about 8 minutes later. It was quite a joke in that fight against Amir Khan up at the MEN. Well, yesterday in Belfast, it was announced that McCloskey will fight Prescott, the man that knocked Khan out in 69 seconds back in 2008. This is a WBA eliminator, I believe. It's at the brilliant Odyssey Arena in Belfast. And I'm delighted to say that Paul joins me on the line now. Good evening, Paul.
Hi, Steve. How's it going?
Fantastic. This is quite a brilliant move, isn't it? This is a great selection of opponent for a return.
Yeah, I think so myself. I say I could went for an easier option. To get back in there, but again, I want to fight at a certain level, and I want to stay at that level, and Prescott, we all know what he's done in the past and what he can do. He's a dangerous fighter, and it's the kind of fights I want to be involved in, Steve.
Yeah, and also, it does put a bit of pressure, on you trying to force your way back into the Amir Khan business because, he still generates the cash, doesn't he, that kid? Let's get it right.
Yeah. Well, it's been billed as a WBA eliminator,
I saw that, yeah.
Amir's, I think he's getting elevated now to super champ, so there's a possibility that Maidana is going to be fighting Guerrero now for the actual title, so there's a possibility that I could, as long as I do my job, I could get the winner of that, and as I've always said, Steve, it's not about fighting Amir Khan, it's about being a world champion.
Yeah, of course it is.
Anybody to be a world champion,
Yeah, exactly, and if Amir Khan's in that position, great. If he isn't, then not a problem, there's someone else, and then the Amir Khan thing, in theory, could come down the road. Now, Prescott, I know that Kevin Mitchell did a job on him. He did a brilliant job by boxing sensibly, but don't read too much into that. This kid is still lethal with his left and his right hand, and he's awkward. People forget that. He's really awkward, and he's big, Paul, as well. Yeah,
he's probably an inch or two bigger than me, and he's got long arms, he's gangly, he's rangy. I've seen his last couple of fights since the Mitchell fight, and he's been successful, obviously.
Yeah.
And, he's no easy night's work. I say I got to be on my game to do a job on him, and if I'm not, it could be a costly night, So I'm obviously in preparation at the minute, and obviously I'm going to be sticking hard at it for the next 6 weeks to get myself in the best shape possible.
You're going to have to. Now, what about this weekend? I'll ask you this question before I go, and I've got to ask you it. What do you think of this Amir Khan against Zab Judah fight? What's your take on it?
Well, personally, I think obviously you have to favour Amir at the minute, but Zab looks a whole new man at the minute.
Does he ever?
He looks a different fighter than he did 5-6 years ago. He's got Parnell Whitaker, who's a idol of mine, working with him, and since they've joined up, he just seems a whole new man now, and he seems rejuvenated, and he's a lethal counter puncher. And if Amir's got his eye off the ball, it could be a cost from Zab's got a wicked punch, but I think if Amir fights the right game plan, he can still beat him, Yeah,
and he's going to have to stick with a game plan, because I agree with you, it could all come undone. Listen, Paul, thanks very much for your time tonight, and I'll come, if I can, I'll get you on in late August, the week before the fight.
No problem, Steve.
Now, Paul McCloskey there, who's going to be fighting Prescott on September the 10th at the Odyssey Arena in Belfast. Now, that's a weekend if you fancy a weekend away. You've been